What's up, Kansas City? I'm Aaron Deacon with KC Digital Drive, and here today with Drew Solomon with the Economic Development Corporation of Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome, Drew.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks for coming on. So, the EDC has changed the way that it's thought about technology over the past several years, and that's really what I want to talk about today.
Okay.
So, why don't you start that kind of back at the beginning? Think about your role with the EDC and when you came on, and how you've seen this change over the past maybe 4 or 5 years.
Well, that's interesting. I tell you, Kansas City really, as the whole city pertains to technology, really in the kind of in the wake of the Google Fiber announcement and a lot of things like that, we've had several really interesting points in the last 4 years where technology has really surfaced as being something that's an emerging trend in Kansas City. So quite frankly, as it pertains to the EDC, our role in providing economic development and access opportunities, whether it's through wealth creation, job creation, or new firm formation, we've been really adamant about the notion that we need to play a key supportive role in how we help move these things forward, particularly as it pertains to the high growth industry that is technology and what that means not only for jobs but for new companies.
So how does technology and its increasing ubiquity change what it means to have economic development in a city?
Efficiency, number one. Efficiency. It creates new production possibilities. You can take a look. The Downtown Council's got an excellent website. There's over 400 creative businesses in the downtown areas. They define them. Art, use, technology, creative media, design, advancements in technology help all those businesses grow, continue to create new revenue, create personal wealth, and also hire folks. And so we've seen a lot of personal gains with companies like MindMixer, Bime Analytics, other companies who've moved downtown, Sungevity, and what they've done recently. Got a lot of partners involved who are really starting to really push and make sure that those industries and things are growing.
So in terms of what the EDC does, I'm not sure a lot of people know what economic development corporations do, what kind of tools they have and what kind of results they get, how they measure that success. What has that been in the past, and are there new tools that?
No, definitely. So economic development traditionally in Kansas City, the Economic Development Corporation is an almost 30-year-old organization. Charged, it's essentially a quasi-governmental organization charged with advancing economic development in Kansas City through the use of some state and local level tools. And traditionally, a lot of folks have defined economic development by way of administrative programs or incentives, things like tax abatements, tax increment financing, things like that. Really, that's a broad perception of what the organization does. We've got a whole other emphasis that's on proactive initiative creation and business development. Our biggest and primary function is to help existing Kansas City, Missouri businesses expand and using those tools that we've defined, and then also to help create some new tools to help advance some specific things that we've got going forward. A good example of that is LaunchKC and the global grant competition that actually the application period just finished July 2nd. We're actually in the selection process this year, right now. This fall, we're going to be giving $500,000 away to 10 grant-winning companies, and all that's through public-private partnerships, some state grant funds, as well as some local financial contributors who have stepped up in a big way, like the William T. Kemper Foundation, UMB, Kansas City Power and Light, Lead Bank, and many others, along with the Missouri Technology Corporation and the City of Kansas City, to really make that possible. And this is just the first year, so it will get bigger and better from there. The other thing is we've actually used that vehicle to help recruit Techweek to come in with their national conference to be here in Kansas City as well and be a part of that. So we've really aligned the notion of educational opportunities and opportunities for companies to understand more about the industry, along with these new business creation opportunities like LaunchKC is.
So tell me about Techweek. When is that? What's going to happen during that time?
Techweek is September 14th through 20th here in Kansas City. The epicenter of that's going to take place at Union Station. It is about the intersection of technology, entrepreneurship, and really the cultural movement that is, kind of social entrepreneurship and technology. I can tell you there's going to be some great speakers. You go to techweek.com and take a look at that. There's also some wonderful education tracks on financial services technology, big data, smart and connected cities. Obviously the role gender and race play in the technology community as far as advancement. One of the things that we've talked a lot about are, in a lot of the major tech companies nationally, you see a preponderance of individuals that look like you and I that are in these major technology corporations. However, there's a big opportunity to change that script in Kansas City. We're a very diverse city, and so the opportunity to have a nice discussion about how we advance opportunities not only for women but minorities to participate in this high growth industry and really be a part of it and get the skills necessary.
Are there any tangible things that the EDC is working on to pursue those opportunities?
Actually, the EDC is working on several fronts with that, along with a lot of partners. I can tell you, there's the one great thing about Kansas City. There's so many people who are working on solutions to help businesses or solutions to help workforce. I can tell you whether it's our university and their innovation centers, whether it's the Full Employment Council, whether it's the state of Missouri and some of their programs. We've got a lot of people who are working on those goals, and really I do think there's some stuff coming in the very near future that will really help advance that, especially from the workforce side.
No, that's great, right? Because this is really about jobs.
It's about jobs. It's about jobs, and it's about opportunity. And when I say opportunity, it's about the opportunity to have a job that can be a career. It's about an opportunity to have a job that can advance your earning potential. Because at the end of the day, economic development is all about having more of something in order to create the create the demand and the wants that you've got. I mean, it's really about how do we uplift folks. How do we get folks into career paths? How do we find the companies that are about those high wage jobs and that are about the factors and the lifestyle that Kansas City has to offer.
So when you think about something like Techweek coming, I mean, is that really just for tech employees, or is this a broader audience? Is it sort of an expensive tech conference, or can just people engage? Is this a way for?
Tech Week is absolutely for everyone. I will tell you, there's a 2-day job fair component that a lot of our major employers like DST and others are going to be involved in, as well as some companies from outside of the area.
Okay.
They're looking for talented folks. They're looking for folks that they can employ. The second part of it is from an educational and kind of a curriculum-based piece. There's a lot of really nationally identifiable and locally relevant speakers, so it's a great time for the community to come in and learn more about what's going on in this area and this region as it pertains to technology. And so, through partnerships and through things like that, I think there's a lot of opportunity to really advance your own understanding of what's really going on here in Kansas City, because you hear a lot. Google Fiber, Cisco Smart Cities, LaunchKC. I believe actually KC Next is hosting the Techna Conference here in town this weekend with the National Technology Councils. It's kind of hard to understand what that all means until you start to see what the outcome is. You start to see these companies that are hiring people, paying them great wages. They're making money. They're expanding here in Kansas City. That's where you can kind of see the correlation.
Sure. So the LaunchKC is now this grant competition. You said you're giving away $500,000 to a bunch of different companies to grow tech businesses here. But this is actually something that started and was really driven by you, 3 or 4 years back, in terms of how the EDC engages in this stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that?
No, definitely can. Actually, I can tell you, myself and a lot of other folks, quite frankly, yourself included. I mean, this really came the whole reality of what it means to advance economic development by way of either an industry or through general technology advancement itself is really something that was called for in the playbook. And I mean, really, that MBIT group was actually really powerful in getting a lot of ideas started about organizations that do have resources or do have ways to execute on some things. It gave us some ideas on how do we bring the community in, how do we identify the existing assets, how do we create a plan on how to really execute and move that forward, and then actually do something. I think that's the thing is it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to be about it, and I think that creating these initiatives, creating some things that have some real impact are really what that's really what LaunchKC's been all about. And so the opportunity to create this grant competition and to do this has been a blessing. And like I said, we got so many good partners that are working to help that out, Downtown Council and others. I really feel strongly that that's something the community can be very, very proud of.
And you mentioned earlier a couple companies, and part of your job is to help grow jobs here, but there is some bringing of other jobs for people who have can take advantage of the talent in the region. You mentioned My Sidewalk and Biome Analytics. Can you talk a little bit more about those companies and what you did to attract them to Kansas City?
Yeah, no, definitely. First and foremost, the biggest attraction of companies to Kansas City is the culture and the ecosystem piece. You've got to show the assets that you've got. And I mean, for Kansas City, we've got a great metropolitan area, a great city here in Kansas City. That's really attractive, whether it's our downtown area, whether it's other parts, north, south. we've got a really interesting city in 360 square miles that, quite frankly, is attractive to a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. The biggest thing that we do is we really try to help showcase that. So for a company like BIME Analytics, it was really helpful for them to understand there were other companies that were doing the kinds of aggressive and forward-thinking things that they were doing with their company here in Kansas City already, and that they were thriving here. That there was an opportunity for some talented workforce to be gleaned and to be identified and to be hired. And so BIME's hired a lot of folks from the local area that they've been fresh out of college, 1 or 2 years out of college, that they found really good careers at BIME. And so the fact of the matter is we really help sell the community. Whether it's state incentives or things like that, we do help administer those. The reality is companies make their decisions based on culture, ecosystem, and then that whole real estate fit piece. Typically companies from overseas or from California or Florida, they don't move to Kansas City essentially for the money. They move because of the culture, the vibrancy, the lifestyle, and the opportunity that it presents. And I think that's really what we try to sell. And we do administer some programs to help aid that, but it's really a smaller part of the equation.
And so is there a benefit for somebody? There may be people that are watching this that are like, okay, analytics and big data and software development, and man, that's not my world. I just need a job, or I just need to, you're talking about all this economic development, but how's this gonna affect me? What's the opportunity there for someone who's in that position?
Well, the opportunity would be that, number one, we really, really, really strive to identify companies that have the ability and capacity to employ folks. I think the other piece too, recently, I know that the Full Employment Council is working hard with Reboot U, which is a great program here in Kansas City. I know also LaunchCode is got a plan to come to Kansas City, which we've actually helped work to bring that in, as well as other folks. I do believe they recently just got a grant from J.P. Morgan in the state of Missouri as well to help fund that expansion. But really, the identification of folks who want to advance their career in this field, we can play the role of connector. We can help find you resources, as well as Digital Drive. Actually, to be honest with you, Digital Drive is a really interesting opportunity for folks to find pathways for that, whether it's through education, whether it's through finding a mentor, or even finding a career for that matter. So I think from an EDC and from a partner perspective, the fact of the matter is we want to hear from people who want to advance themselves. I may not have the answer on a piece of paper today, but I do know that we can connect you to some people, and we connect you to some resources that do have an opportunity to help identify that pathway.
That's great. Well, thank you. Anything else you want to say about what you're doing, what you're working on?
Actually not right now. I tell you, a lot of it will be out soon. I'll tell you, please take a look at Techweek. If anybody's interested in that, please do reach out to Techweek. I know that the expo passes, things like that, are out there. Also, if you are a college student, you can get into the expo and the job fair completely free for Techweek. So please do reach out and inquire about that. Would love to see as many aspiring young college students looking for meaningful careers as possible. So get out, enjoy the conference, and I look to see you there.
That's September 14th through the 20th?
That's correct, yep.
Great. Well, thank you, Drew Solomon, for coming on our show from the Economic Development Corporation. I'm Aaron Deacon with KC Digital Drive. You can check out more videos about tech or anything else on whatsupkansascity.net. Thanks for our sponsors for helping make this possible, and appreciate you watching.
I'm IFBB Bikini Pro Kat Williams, and when I'm not working out in the gym, I'm searching the web on Cascade Media and What's Up Kansas City. So make sure you check them out.